Well, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the GMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host E here with all your cool wrestling factoids. Of course, I'm your man. I'm your man. 110%, guys. 110%. This is the sports center of the wrestling world. You know what I mean? You can always hit that Superman punch, like and subscribe right now. Also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and all those social media platforms so you can get more and more of me. No, I'm just kidding. More and more in wrestling, of course, or sports from the GSMC Sports Network. Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today. Today we're going to talk about a little bit of NXT review and also AEW preview. And because NXT last night kind of ended with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams in a steel cage match, I kind of thought of just like a handful of iconic WWE Steel Cage matchups that I kind of want to talk to you guys, about today. And to kind of cap it all off, we're going to end it with the great Nikki Bella, well, Nikki Garcia. She is all elite. Almost. We're basically going to go over how she almost signed a contract with AEW, how she was, this close of calling Tony Khan, making it happen, but, ultimately, it didn't happen. So, anyways, well, before we move on, I beg you guys to hit the tips and donations link. Also, we get a number of questions that come in during the show from viewers like you. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask you to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net with your questions. With this, put your questions up on top so I can see it. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like, tell me what you want to further talk about. I love talking to the fans. I had a couple of chat come up in the last couple of podcasts, and it was pretty fun. So the more and more you guys chat, the more and more we all can have fun together because we all are a living breed of wrestling fans, and that's something that me and you have in common. So yeah, don't be afraid to talk to your boy E here. And again, the link is the gsmcpodcast.net. So moving on to our first, we have our WWE NXT review. It was a really good NXT, especially the last NXT before spring break-in. They're going to do their night one and night two. Super interesting to see how they're going to, Shawn Michaels is going to pull that off. But let's get on into it. Today, it started off with Noam Dar against Dijak. Honestly, this match was Noam Dar ultimately got the victory because, their strength in numbers with metaphor. But you have to admire his courage. For a small guy, he was able to put up with the powerhouse Dijaks. Like, he did not back down. And that's something that, I'm a man of like 5'6" on a good day, mostly 5'4". But Dynamite comes in small packages, and you don't want to mess with these little guys. These little guys, will tear you up. You know what I mean? You don't expect it, but, no, I'm just kidding. I don't think I would ever be able to fight anybody and actually win. Well, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But anyways, so Noam Dar absolutely killed it. It was the Supernova came out and he actually, did his duty and he stood up. He stood up for Metaphor. Metaphor was being punked by Dijak, and Noam Dar was like, you know what? These are my crew. These are my people. Guess what? Screw you, Dijak. Bam, lost. Bada boom, bada bing. Realest guy in the room. How you doing? No, I'm just kidding. Anybody, Enzo Amore, the couple of haters. Anyways, it was a tag team like back in 2016 with Big Cass and you know, um, Big Cass and Enzo Amore. But actually, give me a 1 second. I will be absolutely right back. It's just yeah, just give me 1 second. All right. We are back. Sorry, I had a little bit of technical issues. Um, you know, it happens. You love technology, but then again, it could be your worst enemy at the same time. But let's move on. So we had Lola Vice against Soruka. Soruka's obviously, as you can see from WWE NXT, that they are the future of, and the women's division in the NXT. So good for Soruka. I feel like they're in good hands having her. And ultimately, the match was broken up by Blair Davenport, where Blair Davenport, kind of reignited the rivalry between Soruka and herself. But she was able to, Lola Vice was able to, come up with the victory, which was kind of sad because, I like Soruka. I think she's going to be amazing. And it was, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool how Vice was able to kind of use that distraction as like kind of like leverage. And then you had Natalia up on the screen, ultimately kind of building more up toward that, kind of like that match toward some spring break-in that they're gonna have in an underground match. So it should be pretty dope. Pretty dope. Next we have Rich Holland with yet another outburst. Ultimately, this is kind of leading him up to kind of being his old self, kind of being a little more ruthless. I could see him going heel very, very fast. But Rich Holland, he's a hell of a competitor. He's a hell of a competitor. And honestly, I don't think anybody could if when he's like on it, I was gonna say when he's hot, but that might sound kind of weird. But like when he's on it, good luck. Good luck. He can very well be the next WWE NXT World Champion. But next you had Tony D'Angelo. Tony D'Angelo came out with the family. He challenged the North Quarter Catch Crew with Drew Gulak. For the he was kind of holding that Heritage Cup. They're gonna have a trios match against the family. The family is going to fight against the No Quarter Catch Crew coming up on Spring Break-In. But ultimately, I think that they're trying to kind of lead it to like a Heritage Cup match between either Drew Gulak or one of the members against Tony D'Angelo. Which Tony D'Angelo is he's great as a promoter. He's also great as kind of like a face for NXT. And honestly, I would absolutely love to see him on top with the Heritage Cup. I recently found out about the Heritage Cup. I know about the rules and stuff like that, and I got to be honest, it's pretty badass. Like the way they kind of hold their matchups with the stipulations like that's always very, very cool, and it's kind of cool to see different things in the WWE. So, good for that. Next, we have Ilya Dragunov issues an open challenge. You had Javon Evans come out. Absolutely baller, this guy. Javon Evans is going to be definitely one of the future stars of the WWE NXT, whatever happens during the draft. I don't think he's going to get drafted to WWE Raw or SmackDown, but there's definitely going to be some, there's going to be a future for him. I can see him holding the title, definitely. I love the way, like, and I love the way he moves. I love the way you move. No, I'm just kidding. No, but he's a phenomenal athlete. Very, very special. I think WWE NXT kind of landed a good one when it comes to Javon Evans. So yeah. Then you had the promo of Soruka demanding Ava to have a hardcore match, no disqualification, no holds barred, against Lola Vice, no, against Blair Davenport at Spring Breakin'. And honestly, I am so excited to see that match. Very, very, very excited. Because, I'm Attitude Era Eric. You know what I mean? I love that Attitude Era-esque of matches, especially here in the WWE. So that should be super, super awesome. Looking forward to that. Definitely one of the matches I'm looking forward to. Next, you have Tatum Paxley against Thea Hale. I love Thea Hale. I love her personality. I love how enthusiastic she is. Like, she's kind of like that Bailey mixed with like Alexa Bliss, where like she panders to the crowd and she wants you to like get on her back, or like, oh, the buddies. And then she's willing to kind of go there like Alexa Bliss was, to not be afraid to like kind of show her show her bad side. You know what I mean. So I think Thea Hale's going to do pretty well in the WWE NXT division, women's division, moving forward. Yeah, Joyce Jane kind of interrupted, and this kind of sucked because Thea Hale was kicking ass, and ultimately kind of building up to a match with them, probably fighting at Spring Break-In, which would be pretty badass. Then you had the brawl after the match. You had the brawl after the match where Thea Hale went after Jason Jane, but as all the attention was up on top of the ramp, you had referees out there, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, like what's going up there?" Like what people didn't see inside the ring, you saw Lyra Valkyrie absolutely come out and demolish Tatum Paxley, which is pretty cool. Honestly, you really kind of don't see that when it comes to women's wrestling, especially in my era. Like usually, you would see just like a little brawl, but no, you had two brawls. You had two brawls happening at one time. Absolutely awesome, absolutely sick. I love the way that they're taking the WWE NXT Women's Division. So I don't know, hey Sean, keep it up. Next we have Roxanne was bragging how she wants to challenge Tatum as well as Tatum Paxley as well as Lyra Valkyrie, and she was like, "Oh, this job is easy. Why is Ava just why is she always like complaining about her job? I can do this job." And then Ava came out and ultimately like made her pay the price, be like, "Hey, you know what? This is a triple threat match, so up yours, man." No, I'm just kidding. No, Roxanne Perez, she has incredible talent. She's great on the mic, and just that in your face, not afraid to kind of like be that, that witch, but not with a witch. Obviously, you guys catch my drift. But which is pretty cool. Next we have AOP. They ultimately they fought these. I think it was. Oh, it wasn't Trent. No, not Trinity. That's wrong. Anyways, they basically showed why they deserve to be on top of the WWE NXT Tag Team division. They really, really did. And at the end of the match, you had Axiom and Frazier come out, the Tag Team Champions. I kind of confront them because they were the ones who got attacked by them last week. And I don't know, it's going to be a really, really good, it's going to be a very, very good rival between those two. It's going to be a great match, and I'm excited to see that one as well. Next, you're going to have the Viking Raider Ivar. The Viking Raider Ivar came out and defeated Josh Briggs, which is pretty cool. You know what I mean? I like Ivar. He did lose on Monday Night Raw to the returning Sheamus. I thought that kind of maybe discredited his credibility a little bit, but then again, I was like, okay, like, now it's clear that Ivar, the Viking Raider, will be drafted to WWE NXT on the 26th of April, Friday Night SmackDown. So I think that's definitely going to be one of the first round picks that NXT is going to make. And I think it's a good pick. Like right now, he's kind of having that feud with Obafemi. Not a lot of people could challenge Obafemi or really like stand up to his not just charisma, his athleticism. Just like his overall just brute force. This guy's a monster. This guy's a powerhouse. This guy's like that guy that you see on the side of the alley and you're like, oh my God, that guy's way too buff. Maybe he'll be my friend, I'm just kidding. No, but anyways. So to be honest, it's gonna be a great match. If Ivar and Obafemi fight on Spring Breakin, honestly, I'm gonna dig it. I think that'd be super, super cool. And to kind of cap it all off here, our final match was between a steel cage match between Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. I honestly, when I saw the match coming up, gotta be honest to you guys, I was a little depressed. I looked up at the time, it was like 9:50, 9:51, or no, it started at and it's at 10. And I was kind of thinking, I was like, oh man, this match is only going to be 10 minutes. That kind of sucks. It's going to be a 10-minute match between two guys that could obviously light up the ring. But to be honest, it was 10 minutes well spent. 10 minutes well spent. Great match. Carmelo Hayes underestimated Trick Williams, brought in his goons, brought in a steel cage, steel chair, and he ultimately he got that trick shot right to the face, right to the dome, and he went down for that 1-2-3, leaving Trick Williams a victor, and pointing at Ilya Dragunov and saying, "Hey, next week, dude, I'm coming for that WWE NXT World Championship." Super cool stuff. I love it when Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes go at it. It kind of reminds me of because they were like basically brothers, tag team partners. Kind of reminds me of the Hart Foundation Civil War, where you had Owen Hart and Bret Hart kind of go at it. So I don't know. Usually when it comes to matches like that, especially people that for those wrestling fans who understand the matches between Owen Hart and Bret Hart, their chemistry in the ring, you can't really get anything better than that. So I don't know. Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes, hope they have more matches in the future, and it's going to be super awesome. Well, don't go anywhere. We're going to take our first break here, but not to fear. We have our AEW Dynamite preview. So hey, don't go anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I
wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy E from the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Wrestling Brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Sorry. Just recently, we spoke about WWE NXT review and kind of how that goes. And kind of moving forward, we have our AEW Dynamite preview to look forward to. But before anything happens, or before you guys hear my takes on anything, I ask you guys to use the tips and donations link. We get a number of questions that come in during the show from viewers like you. So to ensure your question gets read on air, I ask you to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. With your questions. Just put your questions up on top of the list so we can have a conversation. I can see it. We can talk about it. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you would like to, I don't know. Tell me what you want to hear on the podcast. Tell me how I can please the viewers, please the people, power the people, baby, all the way. And leave a positive review here at the GSMC Sports Network. We love peace, love, and positivity. And it really helps the show, guys. So again, the link is the gsmcpodcast.net. So, yeah. So we have our AEW Dynamite preview. This Dynamite should be very, very good, especially with, all the drama that's kind of happening with the whole CM Punk footage being aired on Dynamite by the Young Bucks, by the EVPs. And also what Will Ospreay said about Triple H and his comments about how a lot of wrestlers that went to AEW, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, New Japan Wrestling, didn't want to join the WWE or didn't even try to join the WWE is because the WWE is a grind. Not a lot of wrestlers can handle it. Not a lot of wrestlers have the talent, charisma, enthusiasm, or patience to put up with a company like that. And I think that's what kind of offended Will Ospreay. And Will Ospreay came out and he was like, the only reason why you're kind of in the position you are right now is because you're grinding on the boss's daughter. Oh, ouch. So like that was pretty crazy, but if if that's his way of sticking it to Triple H and the WWE, then so be it. I got to be honest, WWE stars, they go through a lot. Wrestling in general, their stars go through a lot. Like some of them are fighting 2 to 3 times a week. WWE has live shows, so you know that they're at least pulling in like maybe 3 or 4 matches a week. So yeah, it is indeed a grind. Absolutely, 110%. Will Ospreay isn't, Triple H isn't wrong about that. And also Ospreay isn't wrong when it comes to like Triple H, like, a lot of wrestlers that bust their ass. And sometimes they don't want to join the WWE. Like, look at what happened with Sting. Sting was like, no, I see the way they treat the superstars. No, thank you. And, maybe you don't want to get hurt. Like, you got to think about both sides of the coin, both different perspectives. So, honestly, I'm with the wrestling people when it comes to this. So anyway, this is the final AEW Dynamite before Dynasty. It's going to be at the Farmers Coliseum in Indianapolis. The IWGP Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley will be returning to AEW, which is pretty cool. Looking forward to see what they do with his character, especially with Dynasty right around the corner. I don't know if he's gonna try to go for Swerve Strickland or Samoa Joe, who's ever gonna win that AEW heavyweight title. It's gonna be pretty cool. Honestly, I can't wait to see Jon Moxley in the ring. As I became a AEW fan, I haven't really had a chance to see Jon Moxley in the ring since he was Dean Ambrose in the WWE on SmackDown or Raw. So to be honest, I'm looking forward to what happens tonight. I think it's airing right now. I can't wait to watch it and give you guys some live updates on some YouTube. So make sure you check some of that out. So next, we have Taz mediating a conversation between his son Hook, the FTW champion, and Chris Jericho. Honestly, guys, this is the last Dynamite before Dynasty. So obviously, I don't think Hook has I don't think he has a match at Dynasty to defend the FTW championship. I can honestly see, and this might be a little abrupt, but I can see Chris Jericho just absolutely turning heel again, being Chris Jericho. This is Chris Jericho. This is just what he does, man. Like one moment he's friendly with you, the next time he stabs you in the back. He's kind of like the mean girl of the AEW. I know that's, I don't know if anybody watched Mean Girls, but it's kind of crazy how he like manipulates his partners ultimately to kind of work in his favor, to kind of challenge them and kind of leave them in like a more vulnerable, weakened state. Which honestly, if anybody's gonna dethrone Hook, he's been the champion for a long time. The Lionheart is the next one to do it. So Chris Jericho, whatever happens tonight, just know that I'm watching you, man, and I have a particular set of skills. No, I'm just kidding. I hope that match happens on at Dynasty, and I think it'd be pretty cool. Next, we're gonna hear from Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe, the AEW World Champion. I don't know if this is going to be his last like promo as the AEW World Champion, but it should be interesting to see what he's going to say. Maybe Swerve Strickland comes out because Swerve Strickland is expected also to address the AEW universe. So I don't know if these guys go at it again. Maybe brawl it out before for AEW Dynasty. But honestly, I'm for it. I can't wait to see what happens between these guys. It's gonna be like like part two. Swerve Strickland. The only reason why he lost that triple threat match was because the Hangman Adam Page. So I don't know if he's ready to hold the championship or the strap, but I don't know. It should be pretty damn interesting to see what happens. So next we have the Elite, Okada, the EVPs, Matthew Jackson and Nicholas Jackson against the Death Triangle. Pac, Penta El Zero Maido, and Daniel Garcia. A nice little trios match. It's gonna be pretty entertaining. I can see it running for probably like maybe like 11 to 15 minutes, definitely between these trios guys. These guys like Pac is going to fight against Okada for the Continental Championship at Dynasty. So you can expect those guys a lot of bad blood between the two, between Okada and the bastard Pac. So, super interesting. I can't wait to see that match. I love, like I said before in a couple podcasts, I love trios matches. I kind of wish the WWE would kind of adapt to the trios like championship with three guys. I think that'd be pretty cool. Absolutely. But to be honest, I'm not trying to be a hater, and I'm not trying to seem like I'm on the side of FTR or CM Punk, but I think the EVPs need to lose this match. I really honestly do. They have just too much stuff behind them. Honestly, it's to the point where you kind of see these guys as one of, some of the people who started the company with Tony Khan. Cody Rhodes was one of those guys. But I don't know. It's to the point where like I don't know, like these guys, it's of course like they're annoying. They're trying to play that heel role. So maybe in their book, they're doing their job very, very swell. And they have me hooked wanting them to lose so badly. But I don't know. I just don't, I think that the other side kind of needs to build some momentum to kind of have that obscure thought that maybe just maybe Okada might lose to Pac, or the EVPs might lose to the FTR for the tag team tournament for the AEW World Tag Team Champions. So I don't know, just for a better dynasty, I think the Elite should lose tonight, but that's just my opinion. Next, we have Deonna Purrazzo against Mariah May. These two individuals, these two women wrestlers, they started their careers at the same time, and they're actually competing for the first time. So honestly, I think both of these guys, well, girls, both of these girls are absolutely like they're players when it comes to the world of professional wrestling, and I hope for the best of for both of them. I know Mariah May, she's kind of like that, like that bad girl where she does anything to win, including like she has that timeless Tony Storm, like I think she kissed her on the cheek or something like that, and everybody was like, "Whoa, like that's crazy." But I don't know. I think these two superstars are going to put on a hell of a match tonight, so I can't wait to see that match tonight. Both of them are obviously going to be the future of the AEW women's division, so that's why you kind of have a guarantee. You have an Eric Rodriguez guarantee that this match is going to kick ass. So who's going to have the better match? Is it going to be the Elite versus the Death Triangle, or is it going to be Deonna Purrazzo versus Mariah May? And honestly, I think it's probably going to be Peraza versus May. So, that obviously is going to be pretty big. If I'm wrong, which I doubt I am, you guys just, use the Tips of the Nations link on the GSMCpodcast.net tomorrow at 8 p.m. and be like, hey, like, what the heck, man? Liar. You're a phony. You're a phony. No, I'm just kidding. Don't be so mean. Why you gotta be so rude? Anyways, so next we have Claudio Castagnoli against Will Ospreay. Obviously, what I mentioned before, that Will Ospreay is kind of like not in deep water or hot water, but he kind of put a light on himself. He kind of put a light on himself along with the AEW roster to kind of show that here over at the AEW, we are grinders too. And I'm not trying to say they have anything to prove to WWE. And that's like not what I'm trying to say at all. But when you kind of bring it up, kind of like one of those things where you talk mess, you kind of have to back it up. If you don't back it up, then you kind of look like a chump. So especially with this match against Bryan Danielson, I'm never gonna get that right, guys. Never, ever, 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 ever. But that match against Bryan Danielson at AEW Dynasty, it should be pretty good. Should be pretty cool. Will he live up to the hype of being the ultimate grind, to being the aerial assassin, Will Ospreay, that guy that WWE really regrets not signing this guy? And I think like it's kind of like that personal aspect to it as well. Maybe he does have a chip on his shoulder, and if he does, cool. And if he doesn't, cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he should be performing at top tier all the time anyways, but usually, like, you saw this with the Monday Night Raw between WCW and WWE. Usually when there's competition or something to prove, there's better matches. So, like I said before, I'm for it. Next, to kind of cap it all off, we have a mixed tag team match. For the first time ever, you will see the TNT champion against the TBS champion. You have the TNT champion, Adam Copeland, teaming with the Willow of Nightingale against the House of Black, which is TBS champion Julia Hart and Brody King. So that match should be pretty cool. It's kind of been a little taboo that you don't really see mixed tag team matches anymore, especially in the WWE or professional wrestling. But whenever they kind of bring like a match like this back, it's it's made for good entertainment. It should be super cool. So totally spaced on it. Last thing we're going to talk about is Mercedes Moné. Mercedes Moné is going to address the AEW women's division to find out, hey, who turned out the lights? Who beat me up? Who wants to face me at AEW Dynasty? Show yourself. I honestly would really love for Mercedes Moné to have a match at Dynasty. Like right now, she's kind of gearing up to face whoever wins the TBS championship at Dynasty to kind of fight her, to kind of face her oh man, is it All In? Is it All In? I think it is, but don't quote me on that. But and it should be super, super. I really like seeing Mercedes Moné on the AEW roster, and I think she's totally kicking ass. She's putting the butts in the seats. She's obviously putting the women's division on notice. So every single time you put on the TV and you see her, kind of like, all eyes on me, that people are watching. So, good for Mercedes there. Our next segment, we're going to talk about iconic WWE Steel Cage Wars, which is which is a handful of matches that I kind of thought about once when I was watching the Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes on NXT last night. And I was like, oh my God, like that. I don't know. I thought it was super cool. And I kind of want to share with, you, the viewers, as, some of the cool Steel Cage matches as well. Hey, use the tips and the donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net to leave me your favorite WWE Steel Cage matches. So, hey, don't go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just to kind of reflect on what we talked about in segment one, we talked about WWE NXT review, kind of what's going to happen going towards spring break-in. Obviously, you have that match, the World NXT Championship match against Ilya Dragunov and Trick Williams. That should be pretty stellar. Next, we spoke about AEW preview. Kind of going. This is the last AEW Dynamite before Dynasty. So a lot of superstars kind of getting in their last jab there. So essentially, this is kind of like the night before WrestleMania for AEW wrestlers. So I think this is going to be a pretty good. It's going to be pretty good AEW. Definitely, can't wait to watch it. But kind of moving on to our next segment, we're gonna talk about iconic WWE Steel Cage wins, wars. So like I said before, I kind of got into that Steel Cage mood, watching the Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes, and me definitely like being an Attitude Era kind of guy. I like seeing stuff like this, and I like seeing I'm not trying to tell you guys that I'm like, oh, I love seeing blood, because no one likes seeing blood or anybody badly beat up. Or maybe do I? I'm just kidding. No, but I think it's gonna be it's gonna be I hope you like it. If you don't, then leave me a comment on the tips and donations link. But hey, hope you guys sincerely like it. And right now, once again, technology is not my friend, and this is not going to work out. I apologize to all you guys, but I guess we're just gonna have to freestyle it. Let's do it. Man, you gotta love technology. Absolutely, positively love technology. All right. So what I kind of want to talk about first is Triple H versus Shawn Michaels in a steel cage match in Armageddon 2002. Ultimately it was 3 stages of hell match, where you kind of had the first match being a street fight, then the second match was the steel cage match for the World Heavyweight Championship, and then the last match Triple H picked up the victory in I think in a ladder match. I think the ladder match was the final one. But I don't know. You saw Shawn Michaels pick up his first fall in the 3 stages of hell, round 2, with the steel cage match, and he was able to kind of do a splash off the top of the cage to ultimately pick up the victory, which is really badass for Shawn Michaels. And like I said before, he did lose to Triple H, and sadly enough, this was kind of Shawn Michaels' final title run, which brings a tear to my eye because I'm a huge Shawn Michaels fan. Another steel cage match that's very much alive in my head, although I didn't personally see it myself, but is Hulk Hogan and King Kong Bundy, WrestleMania 2. It was a WWF Championship match. You had the 400-pounder King Kong Bundy, most likely the one to kind of dethrone Hulkamania during the peak of Hulkamania, where he was almost running on 4 years. 4 years as the WWF champion. So obviously that didn't happen. Hulkamania was able to kind of come out of the come out of the woodwork and kind of do what Hulk Hogan does best, is kind of get the crowd behind you, get that Hulkamania where like they would hit him and he'd be like, oh, and they'd hit him again. He'd be like, oh, and then they hit him, be like, you, like, and then he would just like bam, and then Hulkamania is like totally unleashed. Absolutely, like I heard the effects of watching Hulkamania be unleashed is the same effect as like one gets, when you see your child born for the first time. No, I'm just kidding. I'm like, I heard it's pretty exhilarating though. Absolutely, absolutely. Get on your favorite roller coaster, and just know. Just know when you're riding that ride, that's how I felt once when I watched Hulkamania go Hulkamaniac. I'm just kidding. But pretty cool there. And moving on, so we have we have Bret Hart versus Big Daddy Cool Diesel in your house. This was for the WWF Championship. This was kind of like Diesel going out for retribution against Bret Hart, who took the title away from Big Daddy Cool Diesel at Survivor Series a year prior. Ultimately, they went back and forth for a long time. It was kind of like a slow match, kind of like a nice little like a mellow like draw kind of thing, kind of like the Sheamus and the Ivar match at Monday Night Raw. But no, this is old school wrestling. This is old school, technical. This is cool, man. All about the fundamentals. But ultimately you saw Bret Hart pick up the win. He was able to escape out of the cage thanks to the Undertaker kind of making an appearance, coming out from under the ring and dragging Diesel. Diesel was this close to getting out of the cage. He dragged Diesel under the ring and brought him down to him. Well, that's kind of like the narrative. That's what people want you to believe, But he just brought him under the ring. He just brought Diesel under the ring. There's no hell down there. There's no hell. Although there's a couple of times where I was like, man, what the hell happens under the ring? Like some people would like a steel chair. Sometimes Hornswoggle would come out and like I'm just kidding. No, absolutely crazy, absolutely crazy. So like I said before, Bret Hart retained and ultimately fought Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, and yeah, it was and that too was a good match. Next we have Triple H versus The Rock at Rebellion 1999. So this was kind of like the Attitude Era, kind of going full swing. You had The Rock, an already established superstar, main Carter, and ironically enough, you kind of had Triple H as that mid Carter, kind of like that Intercontinental Champion, King of the Ring, but not necessarily kind of like a World's Heavyweight or a WWE Champion caliber kind of guy. And this was kind of like a way for Triple H to kind of prove his worthiness, and essentially he had two young studs trying to fight and find out who's going to be the face of the company. And ultimately, they although one of them won, but ultimately you kind of have to, both of them won. Is there a loser when it comes to a match like that? Absolutely not. Hell no. And it's kind of crazy because during that year of 1999, I think slash 98, 1998, you kind of had the title change 11 times. You had the WWF Championship change 11 times. That's insane. When does that ever happen? Especially nowadays. That's like, wow. That just means that probably at the time they were kind of like, kind of gauging the scope here, like who's going to be the next guy. And honestly, I think they did a pretty good job kind of doing that, kind of floating the belt around to be like who's someone that the crowd is going to get behind, someone that we can market, and definitely someone we can put this company, on their back and kind of, strive us to the air, kind of like what Cody Rhodes is doing with the new Paul Levesque air. So, obviously that was super, super cool. Like I said, this was Triple H, kind of like his initiation to the main card wrestling, and whoever booked that match did a great job because Triple H is, you know, he definitely paid his dues, and he showed why he's the cerebral assassin, the king of kings, why he's that damn good. So, that's Triple H. Next, I have Edge versus Batista in One Night Stand 2007. It was a World Heavyweight Championship match. And of course, this was kind of like during the peak brand split where you had, where you kind of had, who was it? Oh man, it was both Batista and it was a rated R superstar, and it was also The Undertaker. Those three superstars through 2005 to roughly 2009 kind of hold down that fort for WWE SmackDown, kind of be the one to go against that WWE Raw, because WWE Raw was absolutely more popular than SmackDown was. SmackDown was, yeah, it was a 2-hour show, and Monday Night Raw was a 3-hour show. Oh yeah, WWF Raw had Shawn Michaels, Triple H, John Cena, Kane, Big Show, and SmackDown had those guys, and they were airing on sci-fi television. And it's like one of those things where it's like they needed those three superstars to kind of step up. And of course, like an honorable mention would be JBL. He was very prominent during it all. You kind of had King Booker go through his run through 2006 to 2007. And of course, the late, great Eddie Guerrero kind of teamed it all up on WWE SmackDown. But unfortunately, he passed away in 2005 and kind of wasn't able to be a part of that revolution. Like we would love to see Eddie Guerrero kind of be. So, but you ultimately kind of had the biggest heel match versus the kind of biggest babyface match. You had the ultimate opportunistic guy in Edge who was totally over. He begged, borrowed, lied, cheated, and stole his every single match he did. Like it was to a point where like, can Edge actually fight anybody clean? And I don't know, he had that heel so good, and that's something you got to respect about Edge. Edge is probably one of the best heels in WWE history, going kind of along with you know Kurt Angle and Triple H on and off when Triple H was kind of like the bad guy that everybody hated. And then you had the babyface. You had the powerhouse babyface of Dave Batista. Batista was so totally over with the crowd, especially like him repping Eddie and stuff like that. Him and Rey Mysterio as tag team partners. It was, man, it was very ballsy for WWE writers or creative to be like, you know what? Let's have him lose. Let's just have him lose. Let's make little kids cry tonight. Let's make, middle-aged men, not me because I was 14, but I cried. I'm just kidding. But when Batista did go heel in the new, WWE when he came back from UFC, I gotta be honest, I was like, I don't like that. I didn't think that fit his character good at all. But that's just me. But like I said, it was the best match between a heel and a powerhouse babyface that I have ever witnessed in my whole entire life. So, kudos. And last but not least, kind of like what I talked about with Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes, how their chemistry is phenomenal. So in turn, they're going to have a great match. And I compared them to the number one that I kind of have here is Owen Hart versus Bret Hart SummerSlam of 1994 cage match. This was for the WWF Championship. And like I said before, every match between Owen Hart and Bret Hart was very, very special, very unique. It wasn't like one of those like corner TV matches where you're kind of like, oh, I'm going to go over here and sip on my brew while, occasionally checking the match, kind of talking to, this good looking chick on my right here. But ultimately, you paid attention to that match. Like you were just like staring off, you're like, oh my God, what's gonna happen next? And then you have the girl right here. She's like, why aren't you paying attention to me? No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not trying to dog on any girls watching the podcast. Because sometimes guys can be like that too. But ultimately I just want to kind of, talk about how Owen Hart and Bret Hart, when they were in the match, it wasn't just wrestling. It was like an art form. It was beautiful music. It was chemistry. It was like a whisper in the wind. And it was absolutely phenomenal. And it was cool. It was cool. And I think you kind of saw this perpetuated in the match between Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. And so, that's, it was a half-hour brawl, guys. A half-hour brawl between Owen and his brother Bret. It was like an Iron Man match. It was like an I Quit match. It was like a No Holds Barred match. It was a Last Man Standing match. It was a First Blood match, as well as it was a Steel Cage match. It was all those matches, like kind of mixed into one. It lasted 30 minutes, and it wasn't like a 30-minute match where people were like, oh, cool. Oh, that's new. Did somebody cover somebody already? No, I'm just kidding. No, but it was like one of those matches where you're just on the edge of your seat, constantly wanting more, constantly wondering, because the momentum in that match was going back and forth, back and forth. You didn't know who was going to win because these two superstars were so damn talented. And it's sad that we lost, Owen, prematurely and all that, kind of stuff happened. So, would have loved to see him wrestle a little more there, but ultimately, that didn't happen. Thoughts and prayers to the Hart family. Still to this day, he was a great man, great wrestler, great in-ring performer, and just an overall great human being. So next, we're going to talk about Nikki Garcia / Nikki Bella is all elite. Well, almost. She was almost all elite. She was like just seconds away from calling Tony Khan and making her debut, making her in-ring comeback, real. Really, really, really real. And we're going to talk about it next.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. So, just to kind of reiterate what we talked about, our first segment, we talked about WWE NXT review, our AEW Dynamite preview. Also, we talked about a handful of steel cage matches that, inspired me when I was younger to kind of want to fight in like a steel cage and like, fight with my brothers in the room and pretend like, like something was a steel cage and, throwing them through the tables and, all that other good stuff. But I don't know. Next, we're going to talk about Nikki Garcia is almost elite. So, let's try this again, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if technology loves me now. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. And oh, it works. Oh my God, AI loves me after all. Maybe he doesn't want to destroy me in my sleep tonight, but just kidding. I don't know, that's so weird. Why didn't the other one work? Anyway, breaking that third wall right there, guys. I'm like the CM Punk of WWE podcasting. I'm just kidding. Uh, so, um, so like I said before, former WWE icon Nikki Bella has admitted that she was very, 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 very close to calling Tony Khan for a star-studded in-ring return that would have left the wrestling world on fire. And you got to believe that 110%. Imagine if you were, a wrestling fan flipping through the channels, you would see AEW on TBS or TNT, and then you would just see Nikki Bella on there, and you'd be like what the hell? Like that's crazy. That's cool. Like they got Mercedes Moné on there, very very talented. They got like a handful of talented WWE stars, which is pretty cool. She ultimately kind of left the Bella name at the out of the WWE. Nikki spoke on the Nikki and Brie show, a podcast that she hosts with her sister, saying that when they saw Mercedes Moné make her AEW debut, they kind of thought about wrestling again. And you kind of got to, you kind of got to think about it. You're like, is that something that maybe that Mercedes Moné kind of thought about? Like, how can I influence other women, other pro wrestling women to kind of, get up and kind of, you know, take their life by the control and kind of, come out and do what they love to do, which is professional wrestling. And Nikki Bella almost, she almost got back into it. She said, and I quote, how serious I got. I think I can maybe do a year at AEW and I can do it every week. She said, Mercedes Moné, when she said, and I kind of realized this once when I saw her, Mercedes Moné, her first in-ring performance, her first in-ring promo as a AEW superstar. She said, here we're going to make the evolution worldwide. And obviously everybody knows that's the women's evolution, what she was referring to. And obviously WWE just recently has gone kind of global with Saudi Arabia, France, Scotland, Puerto Rico, but AEW, they're kind of like I said before, they kind of have that open forbidden door where they wouldn't where they're with New Japan Wrestling or Ring of Honor or Impact Wrestling, where these guys travel all over the world. Like it's crazy. This is something that probably the WWE women's division sorely needed at that time. Obviously, that didn't really, come to come to par, but I don't know. I just think that's pretty cool how when Mercedes Moné kind of said that, and I kind of knew that comment was kind of like gonna rattle a couple of pages from the media, but ultimately, so Nikki announced that Brie and Nikki were kind of heading for a new chapter when they left the WWE, which kind of made me think that maybe they do have maybe they could have a future in AEW. And to be honest, as a prominent, mostly WWE fan, I wouldn't be upset. I would love to kind of see these girls go out there and still kind of do what they do. Both of them moms now, kicking ass, taking names, hosting a podcast. Obviously, they are really like when you think about the WWE Women's Evolution, you got to think about the Bella Twins, 110%. They absolutely killed it. So, and you also had newly signed WWE superstar Jade Cargill kind of shower flowers on Nikki. She kind of said, and I quote, I would love to get to the ring with her, meaning Nikki Bella. One of the most talented wrestlers in the world, both women and men. And that's just pretty cool right there. Jade Cargill is a rising star in the WWE, and just know that she looks forward to a lot of women's evolution wrestlers like Nikki Bella was. So obviously she wasn't that like that person to kind of be tossed to the side or anything like that. So she was definitely one of the wrestlers that, or if not the wrestler to start the women's evolution. But the WWE Women's Evolution kind of took place and started in 2015, where women they kind of got more opportunities like the males do to kind of shine. They were able to cut promos. They were able to have longer matches and longer screen time. It's crazy because even that kind of perpetuates into what's happening now in the WWE, and a lot of WWE Women's Division superstars like Piper Niven. Once when WWE announced the new show Speed on X, which is 3-minute matches, Piper Niven said on social media, 3-minute matches. Ladies, it's our time to shine. Wait, what do you mean? It's not for us? Kind of like, it's just like a personal, like little jab that women's wrestling, throughout the years and throughout the generations of wrestling, their matches were kind of like around that time. We're kind of like around like 3 minutes tops. Mostly we want to focus on the male superstars. And I don't know, it was absolutely pretty crazy. But you gotta acknowledge, Nikki and Brie were absolutely sensational. They were trailblazers for the women's wrestling, for not just in WWE today, but all around the world, which is pretty cool, honestly. She said, and I quote, "We needed to find a way to be treated like the men were treated. They want to be treated equally. Like, what's wrong with that?" And she said, "We wanted the best for everyone. The women were miserable, working so hard on WWE events, and when it comes to Raw or SmackDown, kind of being disappointed. So it's essentially they were kind of exploited. They were kind of like, okay, we're gonna give these WWE live events, which aren't televised, kind of more like the women's wrestling, kind of throw out that trial balloon there, see how it does." And she also said in the interview that the women's wrestlers, they kind of came together during this evolution. They came together, they talked, and they were like, look, like no one's kind of out there to kind of like, I'm gonna go out there and get mine. If someone got attention the night prior or the night before on SmackDown or Raw, they're like, all right, let's give somebody else a chance. Like they were able to kind of like coagulate together and come to an agreement that this isn't just about individualistic, goals here. This is kind of like us as a company kind of starting this new age wrestling where women ultimately, you know, they are as great as the men. Obviously, you see it in WWE now, so they did a great job. If you see it now happening today, where you see women, main eventing WrestleMania and stuff like that, like they deserve that 110%. They put their bodies through as much pain as the boys do, and sometimes they go off and have kids, and they put their bodies through pain just more than the boys do. So it's super cool that Nikki and Brie Bella were kind of like there to kind of do it. And obviously throwing flowers there, definitely they deserve it. They're definitely some of the best wrestlers of all time. Definitely respect them. Definitely still think about them to this day. They're actually my wife's favorite superstars when she kind of was into WWE. She still is, but she just watches the pay-per-views and stuff like that. But I'm the only dork that just like watches the shows every week. I'm like excited to see more, and I don't know, it's pretty darn cool. You got to respect them. They had a vision. They made it come to life, and they did what they had to do to change the landscape of WWE for all of women, for all of women wrestling during their time. And actually, definitely during for aspiring women's wrestlers looking for a career in professional wrestling. That's something that probably a lot of people don't really think about to this day. And they're like, oh, it was cool to see Nikki. Now she's on Barmageddon, and she was dating John Cena, and now she's dating the guy from Dancing with the Stars. Well, I think they're married, and they have a kid. But ultimately, like, she did not want to go back to wrestling, the grind and stuff like that, because she's trying to take care of her son, who's born in March of 2020. So as a father, I think that's I would definitely, take a time away from my career to spend time with my kids because I love my kids to death. They mean the world to me. They're my number one. And, definitely nothing would ever go over. If anybody's like, hey, you can have a match with Shawn Michaels, your favorite superstar when you're a kid, where you had posters up even as a grown man, you still have posters of Shawn Michaels lining your room. And, you can fight them at WrestleMania, or you could attend your daughter's award assembly where she gets student of the month. I'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna take that job. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'd be like, you know what, dude? I love my daughter. These are precious moments and stuff like that. And pretty cool. Pretty cool. I think that's. And Tony Khan actually said to the media that they would love to have Nikki Bella back. Obviously, they mentioned Brian Danielson. Oh, you guys caught me again. Whenever I do a podcast about AEW, if you guys count how many times I mess up, his name, you could, write it in the tips and donations link, and I will give you $1 every single time. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, but I don't know. And like I said before, Tony Khan told Nikki Bella that, hey, like, your family, your sister is married to one of our guys, and he's family. He's been part of this family. He's kind of been part of that AEW movement to kind of, going against the WWE in terms of ratings and stuff like that, which kind of brings up another point. If AEW hopes to stay around, Dynasty needs to kill. Dynasty needs to sell out. Dynamite tonight should look absolutely packed. Rampage, Collision, they're gonna have it back to back this week. So honestly, for Tony Khan, this pay-per-view, it needs to sell out. This is like, you kind of have the gun under you, man. The plate is sizzling. I don't know if I have that. Do I have that, sizzling? No, I'm just kidding. No, but I don't know. This is just something that big that Tony Khan really has to do for his, not just his superstars or for his brand, just kind of himself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know that a lot of people, especially CM Punk, said in an interview that Tony Khan is kind of like that recluse, kind of nice boss kind of guy. And he's kind of afraid to kind of push boundaries and kind of, talk to other, wrestlers and, his, kind of like his employees, and kind of be like, hey, like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, can we step it up here? This, that, and the other. He's kind of like that guy who's afraid to say no. And, I was a shift manager once. I was at a fast food, establishment. One of the worst, jobs of my life. I'm just kidding. Just no, it was an experience. It was a learning experience. Obviously, everything that happens to you in life is for a purpose. It's all made to make you a better person. So, hopefully, Tony Khan is able to pull it out, because if AEW is doing good, that means WWE is going to do whatever it can to try to be better, which creates better content. So, I love myself some competition. Absolutely. We play it against each other. I'm just trying, as a wrestling fan, I'm just trying to play hard to get. I'm sorry. I'm trying to play hard to get. I'm just kidding. Anyways, so guys, that's all I kind of got for you today. Hope you liked it. Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us. So remember to, Superman punch that like and subscribe button. And, remember to leave us a positive review. Tell me how much you love my eyes, or tell me how much you love my new hairdo. I'm getting a haircut tomorrow. That's gonna, hook a couple of you guys up to kind of watch me tomorrow. I'm just kidding. But I think I might get a haircut tomorrow. No, but that's not the point. This is the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, not the GSMC. Are you getting a haircut tomorrow, Eric? Are you getting a haircut tomorrow? I'm just kidding. But anyways, leave a positive review here at the GSMC Sports Network. We love peace, love, and positivity. So honestly, positive review goes a long, long way. And we invite you to also follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter/X for more content and updates. Like I said before, if you're not a WWE, if I haven't made you a fan yet, we have a lot of other podcasts here. We have sports. We have football, basketball with Nelson. We have the Andrew Tate Show. We also have our new soccer podcast, also Hoops and Heels. So, guys, just kind of be a part of the, GSMC Bloodline family, or absolutely regret not being a part of it. You know what I mean? Because we are the Bloodline. We are the Bloodline. Making up music. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you once again. And of course, as always, have a phenomenal day.
Yeah, damn, ain't that great. I don't want to go to work.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work. Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.